Your dreams ever felt so big? I feel like, damn, they so high. I know my dreams all the way up there. I'm just ready to make my dreams come true. I got too much to achieve. I got a family to feed. So let me take y'all into Kel's world. This is me. I've been manifesting all day.
Hey y'all, and welcome to Kel's World. So in today's video, I explained in the vlog I did for Easter that I was starting a informative series about sickle cell anemia because I have sickle cell disease. So I wanted to start being like I said, transparent and being open about a lot of things up and down that I have going on in my life. So what is sickle cell? So usually I'll just straight up and just say it and explain it my way, but I'm gonna be using like the right medical terms and stuff like that so y'all can understand, and I'm gonna explain it my way after. So what is sickle cell disease? Sickle cell disease is a group of inherited red blood cells disorder. Red blood cells contain hemoglobin, a protein that carries oxygen. Healthy red blood cells are round and they move through small blood vessels to carry oxygen to all parts of the body. In someone who has sickle cell disease, the hemoglobin is abnormal, which causes the red blood cells to become hard and sticky and look like a C-shaped farm tool called a sickle. The sickle cell die early, which causes a constant shortage of red blood cells. Also, when they travel through small blood vessels, they get stuck and clogged the blood flow. This can cause pain and other serious complications, health problems such as infections and acute chest syndrome and stroke. Oops. So basically what they're saying is everybody has normal red blood cells, which are round. And I'm going to also show y'all a picture so y'all can see what I'm saying. So everybody has normal red blood cells like these. Those are normal red blood cells. And then people who have sickle cell like me, we have these shaped red blood cells. So they're shaped like the letter C, or you can say a crescent moon. I done heard people compare it to a lot of things. So like they were saying, it's a protein called hemoglobin. Hemoglobin is what helps your red blood cells carry oxygen throughout your body. People who have sickle cell disease, because your red blood cells is abnormal and look like that shape, they have less hemoglobin to carry throughout your body. And by them being C-shaped and hard and sticky, they get clogged up. And then, that causes a sickle cell crisis. So crisis, they can really go anywhere in your body. I done had it in my chest before. That was the worst feeling ever. I had it in multiple parts of my joints, muscles, etc. So I'm just going to use my wrist, for example. Let's say that the sickle cells, they got clogged up in my wrist. I would start feeling the pain, and it's kind of hard to really explain my pain to other people because people don't understand. And that's something that sickle cell patients go through. People don't understand like their pain. It may not look like we're in pain, but it's definitely a pain. So there have been pains where it feels like it's just throbbing. There have been pains where I feel like I'm getting stabbed and it just becomes numb to the point where it's just like, okay, you just feel like little sticks and needles. There have even been pains where it's just kind of like, it feels like a regular like muscle pain, but extreme to the extreme. So that's what sickle cell does to your body. And having red blood cells is like really important, for everybody, but especially for us. So by us having like these abnormal sickle cells, we don't produce as many regular red blood cells. So that means we have to get blood transfusions, and there may be medications that help with that and stuff like that. I know I was on a medication called hydroxyurea. My son also takes that because he has sickle cell as well. We don't know which one he had because I have SS and that's like the most extreme one. But I know he's supposed to be getting tested for that like this year and stuff like that. But he takes hydroxyurea, and what hydroxyurea does, it makes baby, not say baby, fetal hemoglobin, which are like way more stronger and they produce fast. So that definitely helps. And like I said, I took it before too. I don't take it now because they require, like my doctors, they require that I be on birth control, and I just don't want to be on birth control. So that's why I don't take that anymore. So yeah, that's the base of what sickle cell is. And here are some of the symptoms that also occur with having sickle cell. So you're anemic, meaning sickle cell breaks apart easily and die. Typically, red blood cells usually live for about 120 days before they need to be replaced. But sickle cells usually die in 10 to 20 days, leaving a shortage of red blood cells. This is known as anemia. Without enough red blood cells, the body cannot get enough oxygen, which causes fatigue. Another symptom is episodes of pain. Like I was just saying, we call it crisis, but you can also say an episode of pain. And periodic episodes of extreme pain called pain crisis are a major symptom of sickle cell anemia. Pain develops when the sickle shaped blood cells block flow through tiny blood vessels to the chest, abdomen, and joints. The pain varies in intensity and can last for a few hours to a few days. Some people have only had pain crises a few times out of the year. Others have a dozen more a year. A severe pain crisis requires a hospital stay. Some people with sickle cell anemia also have chronic pain from bone, joint damages, ulcers, and other causes. So, at the part when it was talking about, some people had a few pain crises a year. I can say like I'm one of the lucky few. I really don't have too many pain crises out the year, and it's kind of been like that since I was a kid. Like maybe like 2 to 3 times out the year, I will have like a major episode where I feel like I have to get hospitalized and get fluids and get bloods. And right now in my adult life, I still have about like 2 to 3 um, episodes throughout the year where it requires me to stay at the hospital, or even just stay at the hospital for just a day, or actually be admitted to the hospital. So yeah, I deal with that as well. And y'all, I really wish like people could like feel the pain to understand what we're saying, but it's just so kind of like you can't feel anybody's pain. That's all I have to say about that. Another symptom is swelling of hands and feet. Sickle cell shaped red blood cells block blood circulation in hands and feet, which cause them to swell. I definitely had that happen to me before, but it's more common in babies, and that's how you can know if they're having a pain crisis if their feet and their hands are swollen, which I also dealt with when I was a baby as well. And science is so different from when I was born and until now. So people didn't really know like why the baby feet and hands is swollen, and then they do a lot of tests, and then it tells you okay, your child has sickle cell. Nowadays, it's required by the state to blood test for sickle cell to see if your child has sickle cell, because when my son was born, they definitely tested, and I asked them, and they couldn't tell me then. But when we went to his first doctor's appointment, they told me that he had sickle cell, and I was really upset. But hey, you know, he's doing well. He's doing so much better than me, and I'm very grateful and like blessed that he's doing so good. So back to the symptoms. Frequent infections. The spleen is important for protecting against infections. Sickle cell can damage the spleen, rising the risk of developing infections. Babies and children with sickle cell anemia commonly receive vaccinations and antibiotics to prevent potentially life-threatening infections such as pneumonia. So yeah, your spleen is definitely like a big part of like having sickle cell, because some people spleen, if it doesn't work correctly, they're going to have back-to-back infections, and that is going to affect pretty much your whole body. So you definitely have to stay on top of like getting vaccinations and antibiotics. Like me, I wanted to be like not have my child be vaccinated, but because he has sickle cell, I had to vaccinate him to make sure he doesn't pick up any other sicknesses that his body can't protect him against, you know? So that's something that's it's a lot. And then another symptom is delayed growth or puberty. Red blood cells provide the body with oxygen, nutrients needed for growth. A shortage of healthy red blood cells can slow growth in babies and children and delay puberty in teenagers. I would say for me, with that symptom, I would definitely say yeah, but I always been small. If I'm gonna just say my last name is Small, so I always been small. And even when it comes down to having a period, I don't think I got a period until I was about like I want to say 13, 14. Some people was having theirs way earlier. I felt like I was like the last one to get a period and stuff like that. And then like, I was already naturally short, but as far as like growth and development, I definitely felt like I was like slower in those areas. So everybody had like breasts and hips and all that. I wasn't even all the way there like that yet until like probably about like middle school, end of middle school, pretty much. And then the last symptom is vision problems. Tiny blood vessels that supply blood to the eyes can become plugged with sickle cells. This can damage the protein of the eye that processes visual images called the retina and lead to vision problems. I would say for that one, yes, I was getting tested with my eyes when I was younger and stuff like that. And the last time I did it was last year. And now I have to wear glasses. I don't wear glasses now because I just lost them in the fire. So I haven't went back and got a new pair, but like I'm not gonna lie, the vision is starting to get just a little blurry, but not like that blurry for real. But yeah, it definitely can affect that too. So those are some of the symptoms and pretty much what sickle cell is. And they have some more stuff in the article, and I just feel like I want to read it, so I'll read that to you guys too. It was saying when to see a doctor, and they're saying see your healthcare professional right away if you or your child has symptoms of sickle cell anemia, including fever or stroke. Infections often start with a fever and can be life-threatening. Because children with sickle cell anemia are prone to infections, seek prompt medical attention for a fever greater than 101.5 degrees. Seek emergency care for symptoms of stroke, which include one-sided paralysis, weakness in the face, arms or legs, confusion, difficulty walking or talking, sudden vision changes, unexplained numbness, and severe headache. So I can definitely touch on this one right here about the fever. They tell us, they stress this to me, and even when my mom was taking care of me with my sickle cell, if you have a fever that's close to 100, always go to a hospital because you can have a stroke and other things can go wrong and stuff like that. So anytime my son has a fever, I always just go straight up there. Like I don't even play, because having a stroke at a young age is crazy, and I don't want him to experience that. And that's something that can happen when you're having a fever. So those are some of the things that you know goes on with living with sickle cell, and I just want to bring like pretty much an introduction of it, and more in the series we'll start talking about everything else and me telling my story and etc. So yeah, but I don't know if sometimes with sickle cell there's like a lot of myths and like misconceptions and stuff like that. But when I read about it, sometimes they said like the disease originated like in the island in like the Caribbean pretty much, because it was like really bad malaria going on. So people with sickle cell, they can't really contract malaria. I hope I'm saying this information right. And if I'm not, like, I'm definitely going to go over it and make sure I'm correct. But they said that you can't get malaria because it protects you from that and stuff like that. So I'll read the causes as well. Sickle cell anemia is caused by a change in the gene that tells the body to make hemoglobin. Hemoglobin is the iron rich compound in red blood cells that allows these cells to carry oxygen from lungs to the rest of the body. The hemoglobin associated with sickle cell anemia causes red blood cells to become rigid, sticky, and mishappen. For children to have sickle cell anemia, both parents must carry one copy of the sickle cell gene and pass both copies to the child. So, like I was saying, with my son having sickle cell, I have the SS gene. We're not sure which gene his dad has because they've been telling me it's either between SS or beta thalassemia. And I honestly feel like it's beta thalassemia because like how his symptoms are when he's sick, and he haven't really had a crisis or anything like that. So we're just not sure, and you can't get testing until you're about 2 years old. So he's 2 now, and we'll definitely be getting testing. My bad, y'all. We'll definitely be getting testing for that, for him to figure out which gene his dad has that made him a carrier of sickle cell. If one parent passes the sickle cell gene to the child, that child will have sickle cell trait. With one typical hemoglobin gene and one sickle cell gene, people with the sickle cell trait make both typical hemoglobin and sickle cell hemoglobin. So like I was saying, like my mom and dad, they both have the trait. And I have the full thing. With my brother, one of my brothers have the trait. So he's the only one. But people with the traits, they don't really get as many symptoms like I would, but they can have like a minimum of symptoms. Their blood might contain some sickle cells, but they generally don't have symptoms like I was just saying. The carriers of disease, that mean they can pass the gene to their children. This one says risk factors. For a baby to have sickle cell anemia, both parents must carry the sickle cell gene, like I was saying. In the United States, sickle cell anemia most commonly affects people of African, Mediterranean, and Middle Eastern descent. So they usually always, from what I learned about the disease, it's usually Black people, Caribbean people, and like I said, Mediterranean people and Middle Eastern people. So, yeah. And now to the complications. So the complications you can have is a stroke, acute chest syndrome. So I can touch on this one a little bit and read that one. A lung infection of sickle cell blocking blood vessels in the lungs can cause life-threatening complications. Symptoms include chest pain, fever, and difficulty breathing. Acute chest syndrome might need emergency medical treatment. I'm sorry if I don't know how to pronounce this. Avascular necrosis. So that one says sickle cells can block the blood vessels that supply blood to the bones. When the bones don't get enough blood, joints may narrow and bones can die. This can happen anywhere, but most often happens in the hip. And then the next one is pulmonary hypertension. People with sickle cell can develop high blood pressure in their lungs. This complication usually affects adults. Shortness of breath and fatigue are the common symptoms of this condition, which can be fatal. And then the next one is organ damage. Sickle cell that block the blood flow to organs deprive affected organs of blood and oxygen. In sickle cell anemia, blood is low in oxygen. This lack of oxygen-rich blood can damage nerves and organs, including the kidneys, liver, spleen, and that can be fatal. Splenic, excuse me, y'all, I don't know how to say this. Secretion, that's what I think it says. I'm gonna put the word in so y'all can see. Sickle cell can get trapped in the spleen, causing it to enlarge. This may cause abdominal pain on the left side of your body, causing a life-threatening. It's life-threatening. Parents of children with sickle cell anemia can learn how to locate and fill their child's spleen for enlargement. So yeah, every time we go to an appointment, they make sure we know the anatomy of AJ's body, and we have to know where his spleen and stuff is, and make sure we are feeling around to make sure it doesn't feel like enlarged to us. And then the next one is blindness, then leg ulcers, gallstones, and say prepiism. Sickle cell anemia can cause painful, long-lasting erection known as prepiism. Sickle cell can block the blood vessels in the penis, which can lead to impotence over time. So yeah, that's another thing. I'm not a male, so I can't really speak on that, but I know for my son, if his penis was erected for too long, that can be a sign of he's having pain down there. So yes, the males who have sickle cell, they can get pain in their penis, and I can just only imagine what that feels like. But yes, that's something that can happen to males who have sickle cell. And also deep vein thrombosis. Sickle cell red blood cells cause blood clots, including a risk of clot lodging in deep vein known as vein thrombosis. It also increases the risk of blood clot lodging in a lung known as pulmonary embolism. Either can cause seriousness, illness, or even death, and pregnancy complications. So, like I was saying, I had sickle cell and I was pregnant with my son. I probably won't talk too much about that. I'll probably do that in a whole separate video. But yes, you definitely have complications when you're pregnant. And I know, like, the main thing I had to do when I was pregnant is get blood transfusions, like, pretty much like every 2 weeks. So, yeah. And prevention. So, if you know you have sickle cell, it's honestly like a big debate about it, because I don't fault people who want kids and they have sickle cell. I would just say make sure you take your partner to get check their genes to see if they have sickle cell, and then that would be y'all decision to decide if y'all want to have a kid. So for me and my story, it's a little different. I knew I had sickle cell. I did not know his dad had a trait. And it's crazy because I remember going to my OBGYN appointments, and they always used to tell me to go get him tested, and we just never did it. I don't know why. And then it just came back that our son has sickle cell anyway. So it's just like, wow. But I feel like if we definitely knew, we could have been preparing our minds a little more, how we're going to handle our child having sickle cell and what we're going to do about it. So definitely, if you have sickle cell, or your partner has sickle cell, I mean, that's for y'all to talk about. But I would definitely say if you have sickle cell and you're dating, or this is like you're married to this person, definitely check your genes to see if your partner has sickle cell, because living with sickle cell is definitely hard. And like I said, I don't fault anybody who wants kids and they're just going to take that chance, because shit, I wanted kids, and my son, he's doing good, so thank God for that. But I mean, it definitely affects your decision about having kids. So thank y'all for watching. That's just some little things about sickle cell. This was just, like I said, the introduction of sickle cell and its symptoms and things like that. And we'll get into more in the next video. And I can't wait for y'all to watch. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you have any questions you may want to ask me, always feel free to write something in the comments. I definitely answer back fast when I see the notification. So if y'all want to know anything or have any other questions, just let me know. Like, when it comes down to sickle cell, I'll definitely say, like, I'm becoming an open book, and to be more vulnerable and transparent about it, and try to bring more awareness about it, because a lot of people still don't know about sickle cell, but it's definitely here. And I definitely want to be one other person from my generation to bring awareness to it. So thank y'all for watching. Excuse the horn, whatever. Love y'all. Hearts. I'm gonna start doing hearts at the end of my videos. Hearts, hearts, hearts. But yes, bye.